Those images you show us were not published in the newspapers?
The majority of them weren't. A lot of these photos, in terms of journalistic imagery, poor quality. But in terms of documentation for history, excellent, phenomenal. A lot of the photos that newspapers just looked at and said, oh, that's garbage, throw that out and never look at it again. Not framed well or whatever else, they're just tossed to the side and forgotten about. That was the case for the majority of photographs. Especially the helicopter photos, where like one of them you could see a part of the helicopter on. There were some cases where photographs were purposefully withheld because they showed veterans in a negative light. They showed incriminating evidence. For example, the Peekskill Evening Star, they did not show any photos that other papers did show of the police chief of Peekskill's son was one of those arrested during the riots. That became a story in papers outside of the Peekskill area, but in Peekskill, of course, none of those images were shown. Finding those for what we're doing here, it was amazing when I first saw some of those images. It's like you see how big the crowd is. Crowd size also being another reason why those photos weren't shown, because a lot of the conservative outlets wanted to say it was fewer and fewer people, whereas, you know, it obviously was a huge crowd of people.